welcome to my channel. I'm Energy, and recently I kind of went viral on Twitter for photographing some erotic tomatoes. If you don't know what I'm talking about, here it is. Now, let me explain. Let's backtrack a little bit before you make your assumptions. Let's take it back. Let's take it back. Okay, let's take a step back. First thing first, this was a homework assignment. I'm currently studying to get my master's in photography, and that was a homework assignment. The homework assignment was choose something that you love and do some research on it, artistic research on it, and then photograph it. Now, before I get shit for it, yes, I love tomatoes. I always loved tomatoes since I was a kid. When I was a kid and my mom would tell me to go take a nap and I would say no, if she would say, if you take a nap, at the end of it, you'll get a tomato, before she finishes that sentence, I was in bed. I love tomatoes that much. It's not for everybody. I don't judge you if you don't, maybe a little bit, but I love tomatoes. If you don't like tomatoes and you live in the United States, that is why you don't like tomatoes. You've never had real juicy tomatoes. Tomatoes in the US taste like water, period, okay? Anyways, let's keep going. So I chose tomatoes because I didn't want to choose anything too cheesy. I love photography, I love my dogs. I wanted to do something a bit more complex, I guess. So I chose tomatoes. I love tomatoes. I'm gonna photograph tomatoes. So then I started doing some research, and I'll show you guys some of the research that I found. Actually, I'm gonna look at it on my computer. Hello. So some of the research that I've done, I found a lot of different I started with looking at paintings. So like there was a Renoir painting of tomatoes and squash in 1903. Then actually Picasso had a little series of 3 drawings that he did, paintings that he did of these different tomato plants, which was pretty cool. Then a really cool one was that everybody knows, if you think of tomato and art, you think of Andy Warhol's canned soup, tomato soup. So that was a very famous one I decided to put in there. Then I found a couple more artistic pieces, but then I started getting into photography, right? And as I was looking through different photography references, this is just random photographers that I found through some research that photograph tomatoes in all these different really cool ways. And yeah, I kept looking into it. This tomato I actually really love. I think it's really cool. It kind of looks like it went through surgery and got stitched back together. I think it's a beautiful tomato. This was a really cool, it's a scan. So they scanned, like they cut the tomatoes very thin and they scanned. Scanning is a form of photography, if you didn't know. And then some other things. But then I remember back in when I was learning a bit more photography history, there's Edward Weston that shot this pepper series. One of the most famous peppers is pepper number 30, and he photographed these really, really cool peppers in different ways, and they kind of look like bodies dancing together, kissing, etc. So I took my inspiration from there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna photograph tomatoes in a similar way. So after I did my research, it was time to go photograph. So I bought some heirloom tomatoes just because they have these interesting shapes. And here's a quick TikTok I made about it. And all I did is put a black background, and I used one strobe light with a beauty dish on top, coming at a sharp upper angle because I wanted to play with shadows and light. And I set my camera to black and white, and it was all ready to go. So I started photographing it. I was very much photographing it kind of in more Edward style, really exploring the shapes of the tomato, and I'll show some of those images as I'm talking. And yeah, but then as I was moving the tomatoes around, one of the tomatoes, I guess I squeezed it a bit too hard, and a little bit of tomato juice came out of it, and here's the picture of that. And the tomato basically flirted with me, you feel me? So I was like, okay, well, this is something cool I can explore. So just to clear my record, I did not spit on those tomatoes. And if you have been going through the comment section of the Twitter, everybody's like, did you spit on them? Did you spit on them? I did not spit on them. Although that might have added to the artistic element of this, but I did not spit on the tomatoes. I used an optical cleaning spray for glasses just because it has a little bit of soap and it gave that spit kind of feel to it. So yeah, and I started kind of spraying it around, photographing these close-ups and taking definitely a more erotic point of view on those tomatoes. And really, I spend more time staring at the tomatoes and really figuring out their shape than photographing them. I think the photo time was probably a total of 15-20 minutes. I probably stared at those tomatoes for a good hour trying to figure out how to photograph them in an interesting way. So yeah, I photographed them, put them, I re-edited them a little bit in deeper black and white, and I was like, after I showed it for my homework, which the homework was due the same day. I'm a last minute person. I shot it literally 3 hours before my homework was due, and I was like, oh, like, it's not necessarily a reflection of my regular work, so I posted it on Twitter because I just post random stuff on Twitter, and if you don't follow me on Twitter, this is your time to follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Anyways, so I just posted them on Twitter, and boom, just like that, Twitter did what Twitter does best, and you know, it went viral kind of. I think right now it has like 100,000 plus likes on it, hella retweets, and people's retweets have thousands of retweets. So it was actually really, really fun to do and see how that blows up. And it's really funny. I spent like 2 days in the comment section just dying laughing. I recommend for you to go. I'm gonna leave the link to the tweet below so you can check it out and check out some of the people comments. They're really, really funny. So yeah, that's literally how I went viral for photographing a homework assignment of some erotic tomatoes. The funny thing is, and you can laugh all you want and you can think it's weird, but guess what? Every negative have a positive and every positive have a negative, because I had companies reach out to me to photograph in a specific way just how I photographed those tomatoes. So you never know. Now, I'm not lying that good with the fact that my legacy might be some erotic tomatoes, but I will take it for now. It was fun. It was fun watching people interact with it and see how people felt about it in these funny ways. And yeah, so that is my story. I am the person who photographed the black and white erotic tomatoes. Let me know what you think. Do you like the images? Do you think they're cool? What does that make you feel about? Yeah, I just think it was really funny and I wanted to talk about it. So yeah, energy's out. Hi. There's one more thing I forgot to tell you. I made an OnlyFans. Yes, I did. There's an OnlyFans and I photographed a kiwi, passion fruit, an eggplant, orange. Come support my art. The name of my OnlyFans is SpicyStills. I'm just having fun with it. If you want to go and get a subscription, I would be so appreciative. It's cheap, but I'm keeping it fun. So, come on. SpicyStills.